This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, ho there. It's Jeff Carter, and welcome you to another sports catastrophe birthday boy for today, October the 29th. Now, bad news though, there will not be a on this day thing for October 29th. I apologize, but no, there won't be. But that's not. So anyway, this guy is now 62 years old. He played for 19 seasons in the NHL with Washington, the Minnesota North Stars, New York, Toronto, and Phoenix. He even played in the WHA, which was unusual. But anyway, he's one of the greatest players in history, one of the greatest goal scorers in history. He is Mike Gartner. Mike Gartner was picked 4th overall by the Washington Capitals in the 1979 NHL draft. Of course, that was the draft that happened after the WHA and NHL decided to merge. He was an underager with Cincinnati in 78-79 for the WHA and actually played on the line with Mark Messier and would be second Rookie of the Year behind the great William Gretzky. So he would play with Washington for a while. He was a great player for the Capitals, especially when Washington was just more of a joke because of their losing seasons and they're not really doing so hot. But they would change things for the better. So he made an assist in his NHL debut October 1979 and wore number 11. He was the Capitals Rookie of the Year and MVP, as voted by his fellow peers. He would put up 36 goals in that season. Mike Gartner was an icon for Washington. Unfortunately, though, with Washington struggling in a sense, he was traded to Minnesota in 1989 with Larry Murphy for Dino Ciccarelli and Bob Rouse. Unless it's the other way around that they needed some help. But anyway, Washington would rue the day that they traded away their all-time points leader. But anyway, Larry Murphy would actually play some good years for Minnesota before going to Pittsburgh. Dino Ciccarelli was good for Washington, but sadly, though, he got hurt in the 1990 playoffs. That actually left room for one John Druce to help out. Gartner would not do so well in Minnesota. Well, Minnesota would just dump him off after a year. He was headed to New York in March of 1990 at that year's trade deadline for Alf Dahlin, a draft pick and future considerations. But he had promise. He scored a pair of goals for the Rangers in his first game against the Flyers. He would score 16 points in 12 regular season games for the Rangers. The bad news for the Rangers was that they had to face Washington, the team that dumped Mr. Gartner off in the first place, and Washington won that series. Gartner in 1992 became the first player in NHL history to score his 500th goal, 500th assist, and 1,000th point in the same season. And to top it off in 93, even though that the Rangers sucked that year, he became the first Ranger to score 40 goals in 3 straight seasons. And that was good and all that. But Mike Gartner went through the stratosphere, scoring 4 goals in the NHL All-Star game that year. Gartner was actually a injury replacement, if memory serves me right, the 93 All-Star game. Because if memory serves me right, I think, was it Graves that was hurt? I think it was Graves. Yeah, it was Graves that was hurt. I think, right? Yeah, Mark Messier. So Messier couldn't play because of injury, so Gartner was asked to play in the All-Star game, and he produced 4 goals in that All-Star game and won the MVP. Although one of those goals was kind of tainted, as Belfour strayed from the net to try to play the puck. He missed the puck completely, and Gartner easily tapped it into the net. The Rangers would end up trading Gartner to the Leafs for Glenn Anderson at the trade deadline in 94. The deal was driven thanks to new head coach Mike Keenan, who disliked Gartner for his lack of grit and disappointing playoff performances. And Neil Smith made a good trade because Glenn Anderson was a part of the 94 Rangers team that won the Stanley Cup. Although I wish Mike Gartner got some kind of ring because he never won a title. his career. Gartner did okay for the 94 season in the 94 playoffs for the Leafs, but in the end they lost to the Canucks in the conference finals. Gartner would play for a few more years for the Leafs and then was traded to Phoenix. Gartner is an answer to a trivia question. He scored the first goal in Phoenix history on October 7th, 1996 against the Boston Bruins. He would play 2 seasons for the Coyotes before retiring in 98. He was an NHLPA member for 9 years. Despite his career, Gartner never won the Cup or even went to the finals. Never won an award and was never named to a postseason All-Star team. Being one of only a handful of players who don't have, with this distinction that was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. So, yeah, Dino Ciccarelli also didn't win the Stanley Cup and all that, but he went to the Cup Finals twice. 81 and what was the other year? 95, I guess? Yeah, 95. Gartner unfortunately got traded by the Rangers to to the Leafs that year. And, he shouldn't have. But he would have had a ring. It was kind of pathetic. He was traded near the NHL trading deadline 3 times in his career and had a knack for doing that. He had consistency. He scored 30 or more goals each year for the first 15 years of his NHL career, which was tied by Jaromir Jagr in 2007. Now here's the thing about it: the 30 plus goals in a season. The only reason why that got snapped after 15 years was because of the stupid 95 strike. Gartner got 700 goals. He became the 5th player in NHL history to hit 700. Although Brett Hall, Jaromir Jagr, and Alex Ovechkin have also hit the 700 mark. So there's 8 players, and he's one of them. Washington would retire Gartner's number 11 in 2008. So, yeah, his number. He's a legend in Washington. All-Star MVP, he went to 7 All-Star games. And he was one of the final 3 WHA players still active in pro hockey when he retired. Messier and Gretzky being the other 2. And Messier, I think, was the last one, obviously. Gartner had the distinction of scoring the last goal in Chicago Stadium history, as his goal in Game 6 of the conference quarters against the Blackhawks actually got closed the book on the Blackhawks and Chicago Stadium as a hockey arena. Basketball still was around for a little bit after that. So yeah, he has 15 consecutive 30-goal seasons, tied with Jagr and Ovechkin. He still has the record for most 30-goal seasons with 17. Oh, he's behind that, I bet. So yeah. In his career, he scored 708 goals in 1,432 games. Well, 1,335 points. And he scored 93 points in 122 postseason games. He and his wife have 2 sons and a daughter and live in Shanty Bay, Ontario. One of his sons, Josh, played goalie for Yale. All right. So that's pretty impressive. So Mike Gartner was a pretty good player. That's not saying anything else about him. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.